Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Habibis.
What's going on? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
And Mujahed Kobbe.
Jay, you guys speaking to the microphone.
That's what I'm trying to do because we don't want echoes happening. We probably boomered this.
A little bit. If this is how they planned 9/11, they really did. Obviously,
It was an inside job from Bush. There's no way that our ancestors, as big of boomers as they are, were able to pull that off.
Yeah, I the more I think about it, the more I think it's impossible for any Muslim or Arab to have done 9/11, given how incompetent and inept we are, right, Jay?
Absolutely. I mean, if you just go by our example, I mean, I know it's a pretty small pool, but if you use us as the example and then stereotype the whole nations of Muslims and Arabs and everything, you get a pretty good idea that we're incompetent.
Yeah. So, actually, it's funny. I don't know if you recall, Jay, back in 2001, there was I would say it wasn't a dominant conspiracy theory, but there was a conspiracy theory nevertheless. And that was that it was dismissive of the idea that Al Qaeda could have actually successfully carried out the September 11th terrorist attacks simply because we're so incompetent.
And to use this stream as an example, it's probably there's more truth to it than it being a conspiracy theory at this point, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who are just tuning in, Jay's a little bit out of frame because he doesn't care about what anyone says or does. He actually, you might think he's taller than me at the moment, but trust me, he's literally
I'm 5'4".
He's on the booster seat.
That's exactly what's happening, and I'm so far up on the booster seat, you can see how short my short shorts are here in Florida, and we're both matching our matching Florida shirts right now.
That's right. So to those of you who are joining us, it's kind of last minute. It's if you will, Jay, a surprise attack on today of all days.
Yeah, and honestly, there hasn't been a better surprise attack from Arabs on 9/11 than what's happening right here, right now.
Exactly. 100%.
Essentially. And look at it. Look, I have to get over here to make you fucking drink.
What are we drinking tonight, Habibis? Drop it in the chat. Hakira on YouTube's asking where's Ern. He's right behind us. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is kind of obviously this is one of those things where we obviously have to talk about 9/11 because we are constantly blamed for it all the time. And as we already said before, while Jay and I didn't do it, if it as I think a lot of the Habibis would say, Jay, is that if I was in charge of conducting 9/11, they'd have to call it 9/12
or 9/16
or that.
It would definitely be a little late.
Very late.
Yep.
Extremely. But obviously we pay homage and tribute to all of those who lost their lives on that fateful day in 2001. It's obviously, we don't need to like rehash the story. We've if you are old enough to remember, I was 13, about to turn 14 when 9/11 happened. Jay, I think you were what, 13 as well?
Yeah, I was 14.
You're not older than me. You're not older than me though, Jay.
Am I not? I thought I was. What are you? You're 87?
87. You're 88.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we were both.
So I was like 12, 13.
No, you were 13 because you.
All right, 13.
So the real terrorist attack that actually happened was January 6th. You want to know why?
That's when I was born.
That's right. So
January 6th, 1988.
That's the original. That's a date that should be left in infamy.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if people are catching the echo on here, but we're honestly doing our best because we're just a bunch of boomers. Jay, we brought, we didn't expect our producer Spencer to come through, but he's here. And we're not going to ask him to join because that would really fuck up the stream, because then people would know that we're actually streaming from 2 computers instead of 1, because we really are that big boomers.
We did a special rig in order to try and get this to work. And thank you
Spencer,
for that, Spencer. Spencer, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for.
Yeah, this is what we didn't want to do. There you go.
I guess that's
the cat's out of the bag.
The terrorist is out of the vest, Jay. The terrorist is out of the vest. Okay, so look, Sunday, it's pretty chill day. First day, America's back. Queen Elizabeth is dead. Football is back.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jay is currently, I think, losing in his matchup in the Habibi League.
Why did we even have to bring that fucking up?
Jay, you brought
we brought football up. We didn't have to bring this
is
up.
Literally this is literally retribution for 9/11.
And also for me doing so well last year. God damn it. I should have put in Dotson instead of Renfro. Then I would have been up. I would have been up.
That's what she said. Jay Winkler says, I shall declare a fatwa on one of you on YouTube for the drinking. Drinking is absolutely halal. Why would Allah invent this if it wasn't halal, right, Jay?
Exactly right.
So long as you treat your fellow man and woman and child correct, with respect and decency.
So nothing like they do in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Malaysia.
Exactly. It's not like they drink over there, right, Jay?
Oh, you should see what happens in the basements of all the sheikhs and fucking royalty families in Saudi Arabia or the UAE.
You got to say, so it's pretty rich. How much stock and credibility we give to Middle Eastern countries, because they're just filled with hypocrites. And earlier this summer, President Biden went and fist bumped Mohammed bin Salman, meeting with the Saudis. Look, we've had presidents go over and just coddle to the Saudis. Trump did it. Obama did it. Bush did it. And even though all the intelligence assessments and all the 9/11 Commission reports found that Saudi Arabia was behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks, complicit, the United States government still lets them off the hook. Right, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, it's a game we play on the international level. It's the same thing when you look at what's going on in the UN. And instead of holding these other countries accountable, we see them always bending over backwards for them. And it's no different, especially when we became energy dependent under Biden. He's gonna have to go and get on his knees to these dictators, in order to help.
So
crisis.
So let's talk about where we currently are 21 years later, and obviously the tragic day that led us on the path that we're currently on. Now, for one, Jay, you and I both were born in the United States, and we grew up both in the U.S. and abroad. Now, one of the things that's interesting about our stories is that you were actually in Oklahoma when 9/11 happened, right?
Yeah, I was in history class. It's one of those events you just remember where you were when it happened. I mean, it was in history class. The teacher brought the TV inside, and it was like we're watching history happening right now. We all thought it was like a movie, like an impromptu movie that was going on, and then we saw the second plane hit live, and the panic that we saw in the face of the teacher, it really showed that that it was real. Yeah, it was a haunting moment for a lot of them there.
Oh yeah, so I wrote about my experience on 9/11, I was living in Lahore, Pakistan at the time, and
You whore.
I'm a whore. I was in ninth grade, and it was in the afternoon for me, so there was like a 9.5 9 hour time difference.
Yeah.
And basically, what ended up happening was I was the only one watching cable news because the only it was like right after school. I came home, saw kind of on the TV. Fox and Friends was on because Fox News was the only network we had, American cable news network that we had. So the host says, I can't remember the woman's name. She hasn't been on Fox in decade. I guess now we could say decades plural because it's been 21 years. But
God damn. The way to make me feel fucking old. That's almost 22 years.
So what you're saying, Jay, is you're going to hit on it when it turns 22. I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think 22 is like the cutoff, right? Like anything younger is kind of weird.
So anyway, okay. So I was in Pakistan when it all happened, and to make a long story short, I was home, but within 10 days after 9/11, had to relocate back to the United States because we were technically evacuated because Al Qaeda and the Taliban put a bounty on all American heads in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So, look, I didn't feel like I was in danger at the time. Like you never really do. It's like it's very surreal, right, Jay? You know, you never.
I wouldn't know. I mean, when I was in Oklahoma and stuff, like I didn't really, there wasn't really that much backlash. I felt, like no, there wasn't really people blaming me for that happening.
That's unfortunate because they should have.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if they knew my name was Mujahed, but nobody knew my name was Mujahed.
They all knew you, but Jay.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, in any event,
Muhammad.
Or Muhammad, you look like. Well, with your receding hairline, you could probably pass for many things. You weren't bald at 14, 13, 14, were you?
No, fuck you. I was born 10 years. I was bald 10 years later. At 24, it was all gone.
Mashallah. So, basically within the next 10, so I was evacuated, flew back to the United States on like September 20th, 21st, 2001. Resettled in my family home in Connecticut. But I flew back into JFK in New York, and I was driving through. Well, I wasn't driving, but I was riding through just from JFK back to Connecticut, and you could see the skyline. And like 10 days later, the smoke was still billowing up from Lower Manhattan. Utterly surreal. Never forget that sight. My uncle was actually in the I think one of the smaller towers. I think it was either building 7 or 11. I don't know why I think of 7-Eleven. That was the 7-Eleven, obviously, is the date that we were mostly known for before 2001, right, Jay?
Of course, before 9/11, everybody called us 7-Eleven.
Yeah. So with all of that happening, I think what we've seen and where we've gone to now, Jay, is at least since that day, that was like the very first, I think, real experience that you and I had, in which it was like a watershed moment that I think like a lot of American freedoms started eroding. So it first started with the Patriot Act, with the right to privacy, especially from being spied on by the government. The freedom of movement. If you were in any, if you were traveling in any airport, you'd have the TSA, DHS detain you for no reason other than the fact that your name may be on some sort of no-fly list, or you share a name with somebody who's on the no-fly list, and it's an arbitrary government watch list. We all know this. The fact that we even have watch lists is a stunning admission by the government that they don't give a shit about people's freedom of movement. And then I think it's kind of progressed to a point, Jay, that now you have at least through the Bush administration, and I truly think he's the worst president we've ever had. Starting off with going for big government while also ramping up the security state and basically setting the precedent to target American citizens for any reason whatsoever. That's why I think that's kind of the start of the mess that we're in.
Yeah, and then we see it also progressing through different organizations within the American government as well. Now it's not just the NSA. Now it's the FBI targeting them. Now it's the IRS targeting them. Now it's the Department of Education targeting private citizens. It's everyone is now using the excuse of terrorism, domestic terrorism, and all of that nonsense to go after any political opponent they want.
So I think it's actually kind of funny. So I'd say Bush is the worst president of my lifetime. I think Obama is a very close second. If you don't have Bush, you don't have Obama, and if you don't have, honestly, Jay, I don't know. It almost seems, I don't know if we're just like going for bottom of the barrel here at this point, but like I haven't yet seen like a good, like legitimately good president.
Or somebody who's legitimately good running for president. The last one that people like to try to pretend was like Romney, but the problem with Romney was how much of I would say like a pussy he was in comparison to a lot of it. And the way that the Democrats and Obama attacked him and attacked his character and everything led to the way we conduct elections now.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, well, so like I think of all the presidents, like if we were like going based purely off of which president started the least amount of wars, I'd probably put Trump in the lead, right?
Well, yeah, he didn't start any war.
Yeah, so by that virtue alone, of at least within my lifetime, probably the best president we've had.
Well, I mean, if we're just going about based off of wars,
you got to hold it closer. It's not picking up.
If we're going based off of war, if we're going based off of wars, yeah, probably. I mean, but there's a lot of other things that he did that were a lot better than some of the other presidents as well. But one thing I think, like you were saying at the beginning of this, that a lot of them fail to do is hold accountable these dictators and hierarchies and stuff that go off and kill innocents in our name and use our tax dollars to do it.
So one of the things that I think we haven't really gotten to touch on a whole lot is the fact that in light of everything happening on January 6th, which obviously is the worst terrorist attack ever because Jay was born that day, but the libs are trying to make January 6th right now to sound worse than 9/11.
9/11. There's a bunch of tweets out there right now that we see them like just comparing it with no irony whatsoever. Like they truly believe that January 6th was a worse terrorist attack than 9/11 in our lifetime.
All right, now because I'm blind as a bat and I can't see that, we're gonna ask our producer. Thank you, Spencer. Tristan Snell, who is no stranger to buffoonery and making the list, tweets out September 11th was a terrorist attack, January 6th was a terrorist attack, as if those two are the same exact thing. Jay.
Well, I mean, a lot of them want to try to make the January 6th worse than what happened on 9/11, and they truly, it's hard to say if they truly believe it or if they're just doing it as a grift, just so they can start stating that if you vote for Republicans, then you're not voting for democracy, you're voting for terrorism. And that's going to be the next step after this, is voting for Republicans is voting for terrorism and voting for uh, fascism and against democracy.
Sorry, I'm just trying to help your wires here because we were, don't want to just, give you a nice little tug right there. Okay, so we didn't really we kind of like didn't really put much together, but there have been a lot of lefties out there over the last year and a half who have been saying that 9/11 was not worse than January 6th. January 6th was they use this argument that on 9/11 they didn't attack the Capitol, but on January 6th they did. Like, obviously reaching for fucking straws here. It's one of those things that I don't know if they're being intentionally disingenuous by saying that versus just being stupid and ignorant. But it really just it fucks with you, Jay. It really like wants you to like put your hand, put your fist through a wall, or put your fist through your butthole. I mean, it just really irks me.
No, and it should. I mean, the way that they use January 6th, they use the Russian conspiracy of hacking the election, the way that they use this rhetoric to delegitimize the other side while they whine and complain if you do the same thing, as being un-American and undemocratic. They went for 4 years trying to legitimize the Trump presidency for the whole 4 years, and nobody batted an eye. You had nobody you had no Jake Tapper coming up on the fucking on his show and trying to lecture people on how this is like, bad for democracy, or delegitimizing proper elections means that you hate America, and all of this absolute horseshit that the media tries to throw into your butthole. And they do that on purpose because there's a side narrative that they try to push.
I don't know why your mic keeps cutting in and out. Maybe it's my earphones.
It's because I'm worried to talk too loud because your gain is too high, and I don't know why NVIDIA is not capturing it too well. As you guys can tell, this is the first time we're doing two mics on a stream together. This is like a test stream for when we're going to start getting this studio up and running properly.
Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong.
Everything in life.
Okay. That's all right. That's a little bit better. Let me turn up my. Okay. How about now? Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. And hopefully we're not echoing.
I mean, I hope.
Pray.
All right. So, with that being said, for those of you who are just tuning in, obviously Jay and I, we were part of that group that was supposed to commit 9/11, but we slept in past our alarms. So, that's why we're still here.
Thank God for alcohol. That's why.
Cheers. No, but for real though, obviously everything around 9/11 is very it is a serious and touchy subject. But look, Jay and I are both very proud to be Americans. I mean, of course, we idolize our president right back here, Ern. He is the one true king.
Elephant.
And I have to say, there are a lot of fair weather Americans out there. People who are like only proud of their country when, there is, what's it called, Jay? Oh, yeah, that's right. When they have political power. And you hear that a lot. I think I hear it mostly from people on the left. And I feel like I've talked about this on other podcasts before, but one of the things, and probably Trump's biggest mistake, at least as it applies to now, is that he defeated ISIS. And the reason why I'm saying that's a mistake, and that's like really like I don't think it's actually a mistake, but like basically America ran out of enemies, so it turned on itself to make people within the country their enemies, i.e., the left made MAGA Republicans, anyone who supported Trump, basically an enemy of the state, right, Jay?
No, that started with that absolutely started with uh, Obama. That absolutely started with Obama. The way that they went after Romney, the way that they went after McCain, the way that they were stating that voting for Romney would mean that you're putting black people back in chains. They already went that route to demonize anyone voting Republican as, backwards, racist, sexist, and all that kind of stuff. That happened during the Obama years. And then it got amplified when Trump was running.
Spencer saying I literally did a Twitter search of 9/11 Jan 6, and he has so many fucking tweets apparently. Dino Vidala, who tweeted this is September 11th 2022, tweeting out, take a moment and imagine if after 9/11 bin Laden were allowed to freely travel America, spewing lies in an effort to radicalize more people to commit violence in his name. Well, that is exactly what Donald Trump has been doing since January 6th. Time to arrest Trump. Just incredible. Just incredible. Let's read some of the comments real quick before I'll read this. Dino Vidala. No, go back to that. Go back to that real quick. There's no Dino Vidala tweeting again. There's no comparison between 9/11 and January 6th in terms of loss of life. But there's that but, Jay, that but you love to eat. January 6th was far more dangerous to our nation in that it was Americans who waged the attack against after being radicalized by Donald Trump. And very dangerously, Trump still travels the nation radicalizing people. Just fucking beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, so we actually have some super chats. Abe X-Time, thank you for the super chats. Says, sup, gay BBs.
We did a lot of gayness here in Florida, like a lot. There's a lot. You should show them the pictures.
I mean, it's going to take me forever because I'm a boomer to get them in there. But
just like last night.
Yeah, Nate Beebe. They drink in Saudi Arabia, but just not publicly. Push out hands with the Saudis. And is that a photo of Ern, a rendering of the postcard we will never receive?
No, that's actually was given to him by a fan who he was supposed to get a postcard to.
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome. Hey, we're here to speak truth to the Habibis. We'll never lie to you guys. Never. So you're never getting the postcards.
And then Nate Beebe asking if I'm high. I am not, unfortunately. Janice says Ronald Reagan, best president, not even close. I was born in 87, so I don't really remember much of Reagan. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, hold up. Go back to the other one, Spencer. What completely ignores United 93? I don't remember. I can't recall. I guess the conspiracy theory that 9/11
attack on the Capitol.
What?
The attack of the Capitol. That's what that's in reference to. The attack on the Capitol was like in terms of January.
Oh, 6th. You mean 93? United 93 was intended to.
Yeah, it was intended to hit the Capitol. So that comment is in reference to January 6th. People saying the same thing.
Spencer, how are you even able to say this? You weren't even alive during 9/11.
Exactly.
That's more of a testament to us.
That's actually pretty bad.
That's bad on us.
So yeah. So while Jay and I are being complete boomers with our equipment because we really kind of rushed this, Carl asked, "Did you just announce a studio?" Jay, we don't really have a studio. This is my desk. This is my office. This is my home office.
Yeah, right now, but we're gonna change it into a studio, like a proper studio.
Proper good
proper
studio.
And I'm gonna have to try to do the same thing back home for now.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
We bought like $1,000 worth of equipment. Gonna have to return all that shit.
Yeah, because none of it's working properly.
Carl says, I have a question in regards to the complexities of a post 9/11 world and how it relates to January 6th. And that question is, why did Jay not start Dotson after I told him he'd be a stud?
Well, because I completely fucking forgot, and I really thought Henry Renfro was gonna fucking do something today, but he
Henry
didn't.
Renfro? It's Hunter Renfro.
Hunter, hey, dude, names and me, we don't get along at all. Both started with an H. He's lucky I got that far. I got his last name right. There's that. And yes, Carl, you're absolutely right. You should have reminded me, so I'm blaming you.
Man. So, look, Jay Winkler says they're going to start doing rap music on Rumble.
We were actually talking about doing music videos.
We were talking about doing it, which is basically just Jay and I dancing to TikTok videos.
Right, and you guys better be prepared.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
We're gonna lip sync.
Abe Eckstein says Rep Jayapal has the worst 9/11 tweet. I DM'd Jay, but did you DM Spencer, Abe? Ask yourself that question.
Right, because I don't get it here. I don't get my Twitter here, because if I did, I would get banned.
100% true.
Essentially. Oh fuck! I already finished mine.
Yeah, I'll drink mine again. Jay, you can fill it back up if you really want to. So let's see here. When you think about 9/11, Jay,
Yeah.
do you think it was the beginning of the end?
I think it was the beginning of a huge lie and power play that the Bush administration pushed in order to gain more control over the American people, and also start a fucking war over a lie that killed over 500,000 Arabs for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree on that end. It was the beginning of a gigantic lie. Everything kind of done for the sake of security and safety, and you sacrifice basically all of your freedoms as a result. Here's Rep Pramila Jayapal tweeting at 9/11 is when my path into activism and organizing truly began. So much changed that day, and so much has happened in the intervening 2 decades, but our work still continues. Since Spencer is dropping down so that I can read more tweets. Jayapal continues, today we must remember the communities right here at home that suffered so much, not only through the terrorist attacks that affected every American psyche, but also the hate, discrimination, and erosion of civil liberties they had to endure. And it continues. That's why last year with Rep. Judy Chu, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, I introduced a resolution to recognize our history and to rectify our future. And there's just the capital Jayapal Omar Tlaib, and it's a 9/11 resolution here. Okay, where does this go? Is that it?
What's the 9/11 resolution?
What's the 9/11 resolution? Can someone please get me the Spencer, will you be my producer and get me the 9/11 resolution? Kenny says it was her other post.
We just went all through this for no reason. I fucking love it. We hire boomers here in HPH just because it's a dying breed, and we just want to make sure that the marginalized are represented.
Yeah. The Delio, or is it? Yeah, it's the Delio on Rumble says 500,000 dead Arabs. Keep going. That was just dead Iraqi kids. Yeah, remember Madeleine Albright, who remember when she died, and that was like the one clip that everyone kept playing. All right. So here's the Rep Pramila Jayapal tweet with the image that says never forget. Here we go. Scroll says today we remember the 2,996 people who were killed on 9/11 and all those who lost their lives while serving our country in the forever wars that followed. Okay, Now, here's the interesting bit about this. So, when you look up the actual like casualty figures, specifically the deaths, the 2,996 figure includes the 19 hijackers who who killed themselves and flew those planes into into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the ones who failed in trying to fly it into either the White House or the Capitol, and it crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Do you think that was an innocent? Do you think that was just like a innocent error, Jay, or do you think that was something far more malicious?
I honestly think that was probably an innocent tweet from her because she just got the figure from whatever whoever gave it to her or whoever was reading a post at the time and tweeted it for her. But yeah, including the terrorists. I mean, it's because they're stating we're remembering those who lost their lives and made the sacrifices, and including them in a statement like that is a mistake. It's a fucking it's a mistake. Unless it's us doing it, it's a mistake.
I was just gonna say that Jayapal would come out. I feel like Jayapal is dumb enough to come out and be like, you know what? They sacrificed those 19 hijackers, Jay. They sacrificed too. They sacrificed their lives in service to their countries and sacrifice to Allah.
I mean, I can't accept a tweet like that. Like, she needs to rectify it, and like she can apologize over it and just state like what happened. But the fact that we have people, including the 19, in statements like that is a stain on the people who actually had innocent lives taken.
Yeah, I mean, so the dealio says the number is irrelevant. It's used as propaganda to keep you quiet. Oh, I think that was about. I don't know if it's about this, but maybe it is. I have no idea. I think one thing that's interesting about all of this is that a lot of us are fixated on the number of people who died, and while obviously their deaths are very much horrific and a tragedy, I think it's also one thing that we failed to really talk about, and I think we lightly touched upon it earlier in the show, is how the U.S. government used 9/11 to justify not only invading Afghanistan, but also invading Iraq and weaponizing the security state against its own citizens. And that was a pretext for everything we see now. NSA mass bulk collection of metadata. You see the number of people who are constantly spied upon through their cell phones, in conjunction with basically Jay, all of their their
Social media, the Gmails. I mean, being able to listen into our devices while nothing's on. There's a lot of scary shit that we've allowed the American government to have power over, and as an excuse for the fake safety.
Yeah, like the Department of Homeland Security is possibly the worst in agency, hands down. I know, there's a lot of, DOJ is probably a close second, and so is HHS. But DHS is specifically came about following 9/11. It was specifically a realignment of the government, a centralization of resources, specifically of law enforcement, whether it was TSA, Customs Border Protection. But obviously the biggest part of it is that all of these things that they've built in within DHS, they've used to sort of spy on American citizens. And the problem with all of that is that while they're supposed to be protecting the homeland, they do a fucking horrific job at doing it. Just look at our border. Just look at our Just look how fucking porous it is. Look how many people are coming into this country who, sure, I'm sure some want to improve their economic prospects. But let's be honest, most immigrants who come into this country to elevate their economic prospects come in legally. So that means if you're coming into the country illegally, Jay, which I'm pretty sure you did, I'm going to call DHS and get them out of here after this episode.
My dad impregnated a white woman, and then I was born.
See, right there.
Behind enemy lines.
Behind
That's exactly how you do it. It's exactly how you do it. It's the best way, covertly. But and the funniest thing about this immigration thing is how the mayor of DC and New York
and
Chicago are absolutely livid at the fact that Texas is actually busing them to their states
undocumented
when they were I'm sorry, illegal aliens. Let's
illegal
not
aliens.
Sugarcoat this shit. I'm not I hate
you hate the
calling
term.
them undocumented immigrants. No, I'm sorry, they're illegal aliens. They come here illegally. They're not undocumented, they're illegal, and they do it on purpose.
Do you think so? Do you think that term undocumented immigrants is specifically a leftist term to try to sort of sugarcoat the whole?
Yes, and by calling them like immigrants and stuff like that and being against them means you're a racist because they're immigrants. Well, they're minorities. You cannot demonize them or be against them in any way. In fact, illegal aliens are the biggest donkeys that bring in fentanyl, that bring in fucking illegal donkeys, mules. I mean, in Arabic we call them donkeys. So that himar.
So
but going back to the thing, these three people, Lightfoot, Bowser and Eric Adams, they're big act. They're loud on having open borders. We should accept anyone who wants to come into the country and all of this type of bullshit. And then you have two buses go to DC and they're like, oh my god, we can't handle this. We don't have the resources. This is inhumane and all of this absolute horse shit. Like fucking Texas has it or something. Like where do they think that the resources come from when they go into when they flood into Texas or they flood into California or they flood into any of these border states?
I don't know. Look, somehow they think money grows on trees. I mean, Jay, look, so you've been here now, Jay, for the last few days here in Florida. You've been staying at the crib. What are your impressions of Florida? Knowing that you have more freedom here, your money goes further here. You're not taxed as heavily here. So much further.
It's insane. I mean, the comparisons are fucking crazy. Things are so much cheaper. Rent is so much cheaper. Mortgages are so much cheaper.
For those of you who don't know, Jay lives in California, in Southern California, like in the burbs of LA. And I mean, it's not like it's what do they call it? It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
No, it's not at all. It's insane. Even the sales tax is fucking it fucks you. Everything fucks you over there. Like the 20% state income tax fucks you. The 10.5% sales tax fucks you. The energy grid fucks you. The fucking HOAs fuck you. I mean, they fuck you hard, and they get away with it. The banks, the fucking taxes on your property, everything fucks you as hard as possible. And the thing is, it fucks the middle class the hardest. it fucks them the hardest. When you're a millionaire, billionaire, and all that kind of shit, 10.5% sales tax doesn't matter. 20% state income tax that will never happen because you don't take your fucking stocks out. It doesn't bother you. Filling your tank up with $6.9 of gas
Nice.
doesn't bother you, but it bothers a mother of six. It bothers a family of two working class parents. It bothers the shit out of them when this happens. But the state does not give a fuck. It doesn't. Here in Florida, it feels a little different, especially when I go through the gas stations and see that it's only fucking $3 a gallon.
Isn't
compared to, yeah, it's fucking insane compared to $6, and no state income tax, like all of this. Even if like I am prepared to accept a 20% cut in pay to move out here because that's the fucking state income tax. I'll be getting paid the same on paper. I'm supposed to be making 20% more than what I'm making right now, and it's still like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. It's fucking insane. I need to get another drink.
Okay, you get another drink. While Jay's getting a drink, I'll read some comments. Delio says the only difference in Florida is the corruption that runs that state is letting its plebes have extra freedom. I mean, look, you could probably make the case that, like, yeah, Florida, like, corruption runs through every single state. It's not like it's at this point. What's the matter? Why does it say do not open? Okay, all right. Do you want the rest of my drink?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we're only gonna go for like 15 more minutes, or at least till we hit 69 minutes. Let's see here. So Jay, you know how there have been a lot of conspiracy theories about January 6th and 9/11, that like somehow both of them are inside jobs.
Yeah.
I think when there are two different like pathways within the 9/11 conspiracy theories, is that they they let it happen or they made it happen. I probably would subscribe more to the let it happen
Right.
Ideology or pathway, simply because when you talk about, or when you find out obviously what the government knew at the time, before 9/11, they knew that obviously that Osama bin Laden was planning a massive attack on the United States. I think there were many entities within the United States federal government that simply wanted to let it happen because I think they subscribe to this idea that you never let a crisis go to waste. So it basically give you justification to do whatever it is you want. And we've obviously seen what the government has done in the wake of 9/11.
You have the FBI going after Facebook, saying what stories should be allowed on the platform.
You have the Biden administration doing that shit too.
Yeah, and then
trying to get people like Alex Berenson banned from Twitter.
Right, and then you have fucking people on the media cheering that type of shit. They cheer when your freedoms are taken away from you. They cheer when the truth is being suppressed, when it doesn't fit their narrative. They cheer this shit on, and you need to take note on the people who do that.
So I kind of want to talk about some of the alternate theories about January 6th, at least ones that don't fit the mainstream corporate media narrative, because a lot of the things that are being told about January 6th is that it was somehow like a incited riot by Donald Trump, and that he basically sent his fledglings of followers and supporters to the United States Congress to stop and overturn an election and also hang Mike Pence. And I think there's some interesting theories about whether Trump actually thought his supporters were capable of doing such a thing, or it was intentional that he specifically didn't have like Capitol Police outside the U.S. Capitol building because, or at least enough National Guardsmen or U.S. Capitol Police outside, simply because he didn't think something like that would happen, or because he wanted it to happen. I don't think people talk about that enough because, well, actually, I'm kidding. They talk about it all the fucking time because they think that Trump actually orchestrated the shit like he was Osama bin Laden. I mean, just look at that Dino Vidala tweet that we just talked about earlier. He literally thinks this dude, who, by the way, shares the same faith as me, not Jay, because Jay's an atheist, but the same faith as me, literally thinks that Donald Trump is on the same, like on the same plane as Osama bin Laden. Spencer, I can't see, oh, there he is. He fell asleep. If Spencer pulls up the Dino Vidala tweet about Osama bin Laden, oh, look, there's Brooklyn Dad Defiant tweeting out, there's a whole lot of people today who were pretending to be patriots but couldn't be bothered to prosecute the attackers of January 6th. Hypocrites, all of them. It's just amazing.
It's so fucking hilarious.
It's just amazing. It's amazing because what's so wild about all of this is that if you think about what happened on January 6th, I would probably, if it's between a let it happen and they made it happen, I don't think, in the same token that I don't think Trump was able to coordinate with the Russian government, the Kremlin, to basically hijack, what was the word that they used?
Hack
a U.S. presidential election. I don't think he had the same like wherewithal to basically, essentially, oh, I got to drink now, take over and overturn an election.
Yeah, I don't think Trump did have any of that type of capabilities in order to make something like that happen. And they choose to forget or even misinform or just skip it completely. When he had that speech right before January 6th happened, they don't they chop it up in order for it to sound like he was inciting violence. Right. They do this type of stuff on purpose all the fucking time. They do it on purpose. They are here to supposed to give you like the full context and the full truth and all that kind of stuff. But they constantly, over and over again, chop people's comments to fit the narrative that they want to push. And I don't think Trump had any capabilities in order to work with the Russians to fucking hack 2016, and I don't think he'd had it in order to try and overturn the election through January 6th. I mean, January 6th wasn't going to overturn jack shit.
No, I mean, like, this is the thing, and I think Trump could have used. There are many levers that Trump could have used to try to do a forensic audit of the electronic voting machines. Ultimately, he didn't do what he needed to do in order to get that done. So even if he thought that the election was stolen from him, ultimately he lost because he didn't pull those levers. Now, I think Morbidly a Beast says, can he move closer, as in Jay can see up your shorts?
I know, I was just about to say, I look so slutty right now. It's
you really do, Jay. This is like fucking Jay, this is basic instinct. This is 9/11, basic 9/11 instinct right here. Look at that. Oh god. Oh man. Look, I think there are a lot of things that we could talk about when it comes to January 6th, but I think people with brain cells actually recognize that it wasn't a terrorist attack. It wasn't even a terrorist attack that was coordinated, let alone a terrorist attack. It's a protest that broke out into a riot. People got hurt, but you know who actually got killed? Only Trump supporters. Only Trump supporters died on the actual day of January 6th. All the Capitol Police officers who like died in the aftermath, like you have Brian Sicknick, You had like they literally include officers who died months after, either by suicide or another capital. Like there was remember in like March of 2021, there was, or March or April, there was a man who drove his car into one of the Capitol Hill barriers and then stabbed a police officer, a U.S. Capitol police officer, and killed him.
Yes, they counted that as a January
Pelosi
6th.
fucking counted that the Capitol police officer as a casualty on January 6th. So what I'm saying is that these people are full of shit, and they are literally moving the goalposts time and time again to make you believe that what we saw on January 6th was worse than 9/11. Please do not believe the hype. I know that most everyone who watches us doesn't believe the hype, but like there are so many people out there who are just drinking the fucking Kool-Aid, Jay. They just simply do not believe they are capable of doing anything wrong. And before I go to you, Jay, Tyler Smith, with a very nice donation of $20.69 for Jay's 90s style short shorts fund. Very nice. Thank you, Tyler.
I have another pair of short shorts, but they're leopard print. So I didn't want to go too Florida man for you guys.
I mean, you should have.
Right.
Maybe. So I think let's see. Look, we also, I mean, I wouldn't call like the summer, what happened in summer 2020 as like a terrorist attack. And I don't know if we should use that, if people should use that as an argument to like counter anything that happened on January 6th. But like if people do, they do it under the pretext that it was a riot, not a, like the two were riots, not insurrection. I mean, look, people also don't mention this enough that they're protesting outside of the White House, and they apparently Secret Service had to call in the security protocol and basically escort Trump to, the secured facility, the panic room. And lefties and liberals and anti-Trump motherfuckers were basically like laughing at like Trump, like recoiling at them. Look, if that was Biden and there are Trump supporters outside of the White House protesting like that to get Biden to a panic room, they would call that another insurrection. They would, Jack.
Absolutely, 100% of the time.
Essentially, I just finished my drink.
But because when it happens to Trump, it's justified. Those actions are justified.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that what's justified?
In the eyes of the media,
in the eyes of the media,
yeah, and Democrats and all that kind of stuff, and libs and leftists, those actions are justified because they're fighting fascism.
Right, and apparently everything is fascism. That everything that disagrees with them, every person who disagrees with them, with like the mainstream narrative, the left, is a fascist, right, Jay?
Absolutely, 100%. If you believe that there are two genders, that women shouldn't have to have men with dicks in their sports, if you think that our Department of Education is failing our kids, if you think that COVID was a complete fucking lie that they pushed, you're a fascist.
That's right. So let that be a lesson to all of you. We're not going to go just yet. We'll probably go for the whole 69 minutes. We started like 58 minutes ago. Look, Jay, there's one thing I also wanted to mention, and I've thought about this a lot. And the more I think about it, the more true I think it is. And that is, I think we're already living in what many would consider to be a somewhat tame version of communist China. And what I'm saying by that is that while we still live in the United States of America, there are certain elements that ring true of tactics that they use in communist China. One of which is this system of social credit, because when we think about how we all operate in, like the public space of social media, ultimately views that are antithetical to the mainstream, the corporate media narrative, they're treated as if that they're somehow abhorrent views that have no place in society, and the people who hold those views should be treated like enemies of the state. They should be deplatformed, depersoned. They shouldn't have basically access to any of the social goods or access to basically anything, and they should be ostracized and shunned from society. I think we already live in that world, in that type of world. Do we not?
I think we do as well, because we have a lot of those type of people who follow that ideology in positions of power within social media companies, and they push that this is for the greater good.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that what they're pushing is, it goes against reality. Like like what they push is not true, and what they advocate for is are lies based on affirmative care type of actions towards feelings and stuff. So the one thing that really I think is a complete disaster to society is the notion of affirmative care, and they use that notion in order to ban you, to silence you. That if you're not affirming the belief that somebody has, no matter if it's a fucking delusion, then you need to be silenced. And you need to just affirm any type of actions that they want to take. If you don't affirm it, you're a bigot, you're a transphobe, you're a racist, you're all of these labels as evil that they want to silence you over. Even if you're stating truth or statistics or anything that revolves around reality, if it doesn't affirm their delusions, then you have to be demonized. And that goes towards the notion of equity, that goes towards the notion of gender, that goes towards the notion of privilege and cis white male privilege and all of that kind of stuff, and especially capitalism as well, and climate change.
So speaking of climate change, Jay Winkler says climate change will be the next tool they use to try to use against us. Climate lockdowns are coming, he continues. I could totally see that happening. I mean, there have been a ton of people who have already said that climate change, they've passed like this like massive Inflation Reduction Act, which neither addressed inflation nor reduced it. But also
Right.
They said in the marketing of this bill, and that's now law, it basically said that this is the biggest investment they're making into combating climate change. How the fuck is that in the Inflation Reduction Act? It's basically Obamacare 2.0 on steroids, because it just doesn't address anything that was supposed to be in the fucking bill. I don't really remember the whole Obamacare legislative fight and whether it actually included a ton of earmarks. Who's to say? That doesn't really exist anymore. This tweet from Kevin McCarthy, Spencer pulls up, says we can never forget not just the 2,996 souls we lost on 9/11, but also the first responders who ran into the buildings and those who sacrificed to stop Flight 93. One of the darkest moments of America, we saw some of the greatest character of Americans. We need to stop using that fucking number, 2,996.
That's why
from it.
That's why you can't like really hold J. Paul on her tweet as well, because all of them are using just whatever information that comes out, and then they just fucking all parrot it and shit. Nobody fucking does it.
So a number of people on the stream have been asking whether I'm wearing pants at all. Red cock says, I bet Siraj isn't wearing pants. Am I wearing pants today? Sorry, did I run over your foot?
You're fine.
Here,
Make sure.
let's-
Yeah. There you go. Let's do it.
We've been going to the gym, Jay. We've been working out.
Yes, we have been.
It's unfortunate that it had to come to this. But here we are in all of our glory. This is what you get. I'm sure that the Habibis want. Jay, here, move down just a little bit. We got to be in frame. The Habibis want to see all of this. They want to see
all of it.
All of it. All of it. I can't read any comments, so because I'm blind as a bat. So let's try to read. Oh, it looks like Jayapal deleted her tweet.
Well, at least she deleted it. Let's see if McCarthy follows.
Dude, I do that. That dude has no shame. Fuck Kevin McCarthy. Let's see. We definitely got a man spread going. Says Preoxtius. Sorry if I fucked up that.
Fuck yeah, we do. There's a clip that I wanna play. If
was it a Bill
Spencer,
Maher? Was it
the Bill Maher clip?
Where
yes. He had a university professor on talking about masculinity and how the left's narrative on masculinity is actually a very huge negative towards the next generation of men, because what we're doing is demonizing men, demonizing the notion of masculinity as if it's all toxic and stuff. But one of my favorite speeches or rants that Jordan Peterson had was when he was talking about how we have to celebrate masculinity, because masculinity and men are what keeps this this fragile infrastructure going. It's men who are down in the sewers. It's men who are up on the fucking power lines. It's men who. Okay, that's debatable, but
that's true.
That's very debatable. And it's men who go and clean up disasters. It's men who run into the buildings of 9/11.
It's men who manspread on a podcast about eating ass and getting drunk and talking about the news.
Exactly. And if it wasn't for men, a lot of these things that we hold, that we are privileged to have, would be gone. I mean, the power grid is on a fucking thread in California, and the only people who are trying to keep it running are men.
Manly men in tights.
We're men in tights.
Yes, we are. We're hoping Spencer gets this clip up because Jay keeps talking about it, and I haven't seen it just because. I think I did see that Jordan Peterson clip that you're talking about.
No, the Jordan Peterson, the Bill Maher one though is a little bit different.
Bill Maher one is one I haven't seen.
He really goes into also how like social media is a huge negative on it, especially Tinder, the dating app as well.
Tell us about Tinder. Tell us, are you think it's gonna be in the clip? Should we just talk about it?
No, it's in the clip.
Let's see if we go see this.
No, that's not this one.
Ass man.
It might be. Go ahead, play.
Here.
Play it. Fast forward a little bit. Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, the internet
fast forward
these
more.
days is
Fast
filled
forward
with
more.
character.
Fast forward.
A man in Ukraine is sticking around to fight and maybe die. It's not always a great advantage being a man. And toxic though we may be, we do sometimes come in handy.
Stay toxic, king.
Absolute city boys.
As much as you may not want to admit it, there's a direct correlation between all these lady boners for Zelensky and the fact that he's what people used to call a man's man. He can't share right now. He's killing Russians. Turns out after 200,000 years, there's still a lot of another tribe is coming to kill us. And when that happens, you want a little big dick energy.
Bro, Jay wants big dick in him all the time to give him energy.
So where's yours?
People magazine's search for sexiest man of 2022 is already over. Last year's winner was cuter, but this guy gets women actually hot. So maybe now would be a good time for relationship gurus to stop saying that women just want a man who will listen. Because Zelensky, he's not just listening, he's fixing the problem. This is
And he's killing with Nazis
This
too.
is something I've heard for years, that women just want a man who listens. Don't try to fix their problems. Put that to the test sometime. Go over to her house tomorrow and fix her radiator. I bet she loves it. When there's a noise downstairs, someone has to go into the dark. And most women, yes, still want a man to do it. And if
Yes,
he
they do.
doesn't, or can't, or won't, it's not sexy. Ooh, a guy who can't perform. I'm melting. No, you want the guy who says, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition. Because I'm John Wick. Who you also want to fuck. And that's why we owe such a debt of gratitude to Zelensky. Forget making America great again. He's making America grind again. I'd say wives are calling out his name during sex, but they aren't, because wives aren't having sex, or husbands, or singles. Researchers have found that Americans across the board are at a 30-year low for sex. Half of Americans don't even have it once a month.
They need to get on my
44% of
level.
adolescent males say they don't even masturbate. Males? What, are they afraid to touch their own dicks because a gym sock can't give consent? Since the 1980s, American men have literally been losing their testosterone, with average levels declining by about 1% per year, along with declining sperm counts. One in four American adults have not had any sex in the past year, and you thought California was in a drought.
Is this going to have the clip with the?
Here,
with the
pause it
professor?
real quick. Pause it real quick.
I'm wondering if it's going to have the clip with the professor, because the professor's speech is what I really wanted to show, not his monologue. Even though his monologue was all right, but he has a hard boner for Zelensky, and
Yeah. Also, keep it. No. Keep it on the other one. Keep it on the other one. There we go. We want people to see.
yeah, you want to see our man spreading.
Yeah. You want to get that man spread.
Yes.
Rewind it by like 30 seconds, because I missed that joke that Jay was laughing at, and I couldn't hear it because I was scratching my eye about sperm count being.
Oh yeah, go all the way. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, all right, there it is. All right, play it.
This is
their
the trouble.
testosterone,
having
with average
ADHD.
levels declining
While
by
you're
about
playing it,
1%
find the
per
other
year,
clip.
along with declining sperm counts.
I'm sorry. Does that bring back memories?
That's pretty good. All right, I got it.
One in four American adults have not had any sex in the past year, and you thought California was in a drought.
Oh shit.
The question is why? Why this sex drought? Well, I think the answer might be that men are such pussies now that actual pussies want nothing to do with them.
Oh shit. Whew.
It's the result of having it drilled into us in recent years that masculinity is itself toxic and scary and unevolved, and women don't like it. And the ones who think they do, they really don't. And if you think you do, you're wrong too. What do you know about you? I think you're probably committing a microaggression against yourself right now. You owe you an apology.
Sorry, Siraj.
Even the act of just asking a girl out is now seen by many younger people as overly aggressive. There's a feeling that the attributes traditionally characteristic of men are inherently problematic, which sounds a lot like men are born wrong. Type the phrase "men are trash" into Etsy, and you can purchase a slew of swag with that phrase on it. When the Obama administration was trying to sell Obamacare to a skeptical nation, they made an ad featuring someone who became famous as Pajama Boy. This is what they put out as an image of the perfect man. The only thing he loves more than affordable health insurance is his therapy cat and Emily in Paris. That ad might as well say, ask your doctor if chemical castration is right for you.
Oh shit.
I didn't realize that's from Obamacare. That's That's awesome.
Women have come a long way, baby. And the vast majority of that has been long overdue and very, very positive. But maybe in this one way, you're a victim of your own success. You can win the battle and lose the war if you harangue men into becoming less like us and more like you, and end up with someone you have absolutely no desire to fuck.
We got to be fuckable, Jay.
And that's
You have
not
to
good
be
for either
fuckable.
of the 71 genders we now have.
I'm gonna put sunglasses on and start doing Andrew Tate.
Maybe what we need these days is more sex and less gender. Women aren't attracted to these girly men they've created. The guy you whipped into total sensitivity isn't sexy to you anymore. There's a special place in a woman's heart for a man who learns to suppress his masculinity. It's called the friend zone. And men, this is ultimately on you. She's not holding a gun to your head and making you a pussy. It's always your choice. Stop sulking. Stop complaining that it's hard to get laid. Oh, you poor incels. Girls don't want to have sex with you unless you put in a little effort. So put in
Nice
a little
call
effort,
out.
you
Thanks,
stupid,
Bill
lazy
Maher.
fucks.
Rewind it 15 seconds. 15 seconds, just the ending right there.
Stop complaining that it's hard to get laid. Oh, you poor incels. Girls don't want to have sex with you unless you put in a little effort. So put in a little effort, you stupid, lazy fucks.
Okay, I don't know why I asked him. That was
I don't know why you
That's
did
just
it.
because I didn't hear it. Okay, so do we have any major comments, super chats? Any of the Habibis got something to say off the chest? We are accepting Rumble rants. Okay, it's not like if you really want to get your comment read by us, you can always, try to send a super chat in the Rumble rants. Any other super chats? Jay.
I really wish we found that clip because it was actually pretty good, but it's fine. We'll
It's
talk
okay.
about it
We'll talk about it another
next
time.
time. Yeah.
Was that good for you, Jay?
Very. I
That
was
just
very
like
satisfied.
that was like audio sex for us. That was
Absolutely.
that was very, very audio sex for us. Almost Audio Slave. Good band. Not as good as Rage Against the Machine, which actually got worse than Audio Slave because Rage Against the Machine turned into Raging for the Machine.
Yeah, they did.
So,
They got a hard on for them.
God, tough scene. So people asking how long Jay is in Florida. Well, that's to be determined because he's like a star recruit, and I'm trying to recruit him to live here, practically in my pants. Like Jay, I could like just sneak in my pants, sneak it past security. We'll see. I mean, you're going back home this week to California, but hopefully make a new home here. Preferably inside me, but in case that doesn't happen, we hope you return and you come again, many times, coming again.
Nice and hard. That's
Very
the
hard.
only way I do come.
That's true. Very hard. So first of all, thank you, Bill Maher, for making sure that I'm not alone in the universe as an incel.
Right. It was a good shout out to your people.
I know. Really appreciate it. But Habibis, as always, we Jay and I, this is the end of our second season. Of course, I timed and I would say I numbered it wrong because episode 141 is actually not episode 69 of season 2.
Oh shit.
It's actually like episode 72 of season 2. So somehow I lost
69 plus 3.
So it's 69 plus 3 episodes in season 2. This is the end of our season. We'll be back for another season, which will probably literally be in like 2 days. So just keep the ball rolling. If you want to support us, go hit us up on the locals, habibibros.locals.com. You could use the promo code JenRubin69 for 1 month free. Get a free trial. The main thing that we have access to, if you join our local server, I'm sorry, locals community, and you become a paying supporter, you can join the Habibi Discord server. That's the main perk on that. We did try to put out a few episodes here and there. Tyler Smith saying the Discord server is pretty rad. It is pretty rad. There's lots of Ernie photos like this, like this one. And we have a Habibi Fantasy Football League, which is currently ongoing. You probably can't get in now, but maybe next year. We do a March Madness bracket. It's a lot of fun. What else we got, Jay?
Well, hold on. I need to see where I'm at.
What?
God damn it!
Where are you at?
I'm playing against the Brave Mujahideen and I'm losing.
Jesus Christ, Jay. Okay. Well, Habibis, thank you all so much for joining us on this very special episode of Habibi Power Hour. I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And Spencer, you want to hop in, Spencer? Give a shout out.
What's good?
Spencer passed out in the middle of the show. That's how entertaining we are.
Yeah, our own producer.
It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day.
This fucking bitch. Spencer's also losing to me in fantasy football. In our
I am. I lost to you. I lost
You
by
lost
30
bad.
points.
Lost
That's really
very
crap.
Shit.
So
It
Spencer,
doesn't help when you had 3 players get over 28 points.
tough titties, Spencer. Okay.
It's the name of the fucking game.
And when you finally see a pair of titties, let us know, because then you'll actually understand that reference.
Well, they have to be tough titties.
What?
They have to be tough titties.
They have to be tough titties. That's right. All right, Habibis. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you all have a good night. And thank you all so much to everyone in the chat, all of you who gave super chats. You could find this episode. We posted on all the different podcasts, but find us on Rumble, find us on YouTube. And we're also on Twitter. Everything's in the description below. Peace and mess to them.